Thank you guys for coming out. Man, it's exactly what I thought this game was going to be. It was. I have so much respect for Chris and his staff. And, I've competed against him for a long time, ever since I became playing when he was at Butler and then Ohio State, now what he's doing here. And I knew after the other night, I knew what we were going to face and tried to urge our guys to be ready for that physical fight that they brought to us. And they were the tougher team for most of the night. All the toughness things we charred, offensive rebounds, loose balls, getting to the line, 20 free, and we were fouling. They were driving us with force. They did a lot of good things tonight that put us, in peril with foul trouble and giving up easy baskets around the paint, all those things. But our guys' competitive will kind of was able to come out at the end. I just kept telling our guys, we're in there, we're hanging in there. It's only a 2-point game. It's only a 1-point game. Like, we got to just hang in there, get some stops. Offensively, I thought we played pretty well. You look at our offensive numbers. They're really strong, but it was a heck of a fight. I mean, our guys fought, DePaul fought, and we were just fortunate. At the end of the game, Nick gets fouled and makes a couple free throws, and then thought we did a good job, kind of keeping blocker from getting downhill into the basket and forcing a tough shot there.
We'll take questions, Chris.
In a game like this, I'm just going to describe it as touchy. When you have young players like Tyler, Jason, Trey, and it's kind of their first experience in a college basketball environment where they have to deal with adversity.
Yeah.
How did you think they handled that?
It's a learning experience. There was a lot of positives. Honestly, I thought Trey Singleton at the end of the game really made some plays that started to show who he could be. I've been trying hard to unlock his talents, and he's played well, but he's been in a lot of foul trouble, and he's trying to find his way, kind of playing off of Arrinten, playing off of Nick, playing off of Jaden. How does he kind of fit in with aggressiveness? And he was really in a position there with foul trouble. We had Jaden and Nick on the bench, both with 4, and Trey got a couple huge buckets, in that stretch where he went with force to the basket and was able to score. It was his birthday today, so that was a good birthday present to get the win. And then I thought Jake being in that situation, all of a sudden Jaden gets his 4th foul, and it's a tie game on the road in a really hard fought game. And now you're a freshman point guard, and you got to kind of steady your team and get us into stuff. And same thing with Tyler. And we forget too. I mean, Angelo and KJ are sophomores. And they didn't play a ton. Especially Angelo. He played spot minutes last year. And for him to now be in that kind of role and be playing at the end of games, they're real learning experiences. And that's where what you have to do at the end is you got to lean on your vets. And that's what Nick and obviously AP, had a huge game. He was able to really carry us offensively for big stretches of the game tonight.
Matt?
Coach, big advantage for DePaul on offensive rebounds and accordingly second chance points. What do you attribute that margin to?
I just thought they were the tougher team, watching it from the naked eye. I mean, I think, if you look at technique and things, we got to do a better job blocking out. But I thought their physical nature, they were wedging us under the basket. They were attacking the basket with force. They were going to the, we were fumbling. We had some balls that I thought we had in our hands, and they kind of ratted them out and were able to dig them out and score. So they were just a more physical, tougher team for a majority of the night in those areas. And, that's something that we really have to improve upon, as we continue to play. Obviously, we're in a real tough stretch of games right now. But the positive thing is finding a way to win and learning from a win. You don't want to have to learn tough lessons by losing a game, and especially coming on the road. Guys, we knew this was going to be a really tough game. And you can say, oh, they lost to the Buffalo. Like, this is a proud coaching staff. This is an improving program. I get it. I feel I was in Chris's shoes. It's crazy. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, starting and trying to fight and scrap and claw and bring this great program, back to relevance. And I knew we were going to get their best shot in every way, and we did. And fortunately, we were able to make enough plays there at the end to win.
Coach, going off of that, I saw Nick after the game ended go up to the student section and say, "That's 4." It certainly felt like it means something to him to have never lost to DePaul. Do you see this becoming sort of an important rivalry or city rivalry that you look forward to every offseason?
Absolutely, and I do. I mean, even though we've had some success and win the games, I get extra juice. Like I woke up this morning. I mean, we're in Chicago, man. There's no better place, and especially being downtown. We stayed downtown last night. The energy, and I know they're going to keep getting better, and we hope to continue to keep getting better. And it's great. We've kind of moved the game. We were playing in mid-December before Christmas. Now playing this early, I think is a good landing spot for both. I think both teams love the game. I think it's a great game to play, and I think the better that we are and the better that they are, it's better for the local scene of basketball in Chicago. And so they're coming. There's no question in my mind. I know Coach Holman's background. I know what he's about. I know what he's done, and they're going to keep getting better. And I think this rivalry is going to keep getting stronger year after year.
Coach, when you talk about your offensive success today, what do you like just about the combo that you have in Arrinten and Nick?
Yeah, I thought we were able to attack them inside a little bit, with those guys. I mean, everyone knows Nick is a really tough cover, his ability to, such a unique player. We try to move him around and put him in different spots, and thought DePaul had a good game plan. They were bringing help, and they actually forced a big turnover there late with a double team. And then Arrington's emergence has been huge, for him to go 10 for 11, his efficiency down low, his ability to score the ball, it takes pressure off Nick. It puts, a lot of his baskets were at the rim, and so, our offensive numbers were very efficient. I mean, you look at our shooting. I mean, we shoot almost 60% from the field, 44 from three. Obviously could be a little bit better from the line, and we have 17 assists, 11 turns. So, I mean, on the road against a physical, tough defensive team, that's a really good offensive game, in my opinion.
Coach, you've talked a lot about experimentation with a deeper rotation. I think your guys off the bench today made just 2 shots from the floor. What do you attribute that to?
I think sometimes playing on the road, a lot of those guys are young guys or they're new guys. You have Jake new, KJ is not, but you have Jake was new, Tyler was new, Max Green is new. I think all those guys, they got some looks. I have to do a better job with our 2 shooters, KJ and Max. When they're in the game, those guys can really shoot the ball, and I got to do a better job kind of getting a little package where we can get them a little bit more, get them some open looks. They only got 2 shots combined, and they made them both. But for those other guys, you look at Kropp and West, 2 freshmen. I mean, they took 8 shots. They just, it's freshmen. You got to learn. The only way you learn is by getting thrown into the fire and figuring it out and getting to the practice floor and watching film and seeing how you're going to get better. I believe in those guys. We're going to play them. We have to. That's how we're going to be good, is by continuing to have a bench and believe in those guys. And hopefully the more they play, they'll get a little bit more comfortable.
Coach, talk about scouting this DePaul team and some of the challenges they present, especially compared to last year under year 2 and Chris Holtman.
Yeah, I mean, I knew watching film, and the announcers were saying it on the game, how big they were and physical and long, and they're, they kept saying on every game I was watching, they're the second biggest team in the Big East this year. And when you see it in person, it's impressive. They have great physicality. And, blocker can put a lot of pressure on you off the dribble. Gunn is a terrific offensive talent. Macklin is a strong player who can drive the ball. I think, give McClure credit. I thought he did a great job, 15 points tonight off the bench for a freshman. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. He's going to keep getting better and better. And then they're bigs. Obviously we know with NJ what he can bring, but I thought big fella, Flores came in and did a really good job. He's huge. They have size. They bother you. They're fit. And obviously Lorenz, I mean, they have physical guys, and they beat us up a little bit, and it's going to be a good tape for us to watch and learn, because we're going to play other teams like that as we get into our league.
Jake.
Coach, when you just look at the way the first 3 games of the season have gone, we basically breezed through all 3 at home. Now, having a road test like this, we have to battle through the kind of adversity that you did, ultimately get the result. But how much value do you take out of having to battle through adversity on a road, in a road environment like this, especially with just make up the guys you have?
Yeah, it's huge. You called it. I mean, we played very well our first 3 games, but there wasn't a whole lot of adversity in those games. We kind of jumped on those teams and had a big lead, and didn't really have to face what I call game pressure. We had a lot of game pressure tonight. DePaul brought the fight to us. We were down. There was a lot of lead changes that went back and forth the last 10 minutes of the game, and we needed that, because I think we're going to be in a lot of close games this year. So, you got to find a way to get stops when the game's on the line, which I thought we did. Not all of them, but I thought when we were able to kind of get the lead there, we did get some big stops and had some shot blocks at the rim and some big loose balls we got, and then we found a way to get some scores at the end. I thought Jaden, his ability to create, and thought he had some big shots down the stretch, and obviously Nick and AP as well.
Got it. Just go ahead.
Okay, we talked about this yesterday in working with Trey Singleton and the foul issues, working with him through confidence. He checks in there with about 5 minutes to go and 4 fouls. No Martinelli, no Reed.
Yeah.
I believe at the moment, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you guys were down 1. By the time they come back into the game, you're up 1. He has the 2 big baskets.
Mm-hmm.
What's the message from you to him there, and just working with him, giving him the confidence with 4 fouls?
Yeah, I just want him to be aggressive, and he's got to be a little bit smarter with his fouls. That's a little bit of a freshman, being a little bit too physical, a little bit too much grabbing, pushing, holding, things of that nature. But I really saw that stretch you were saying, that guy that we saw, in high school, that guy that was assertive and aggressive. And like I said, it's not easy, guys. He's playing with 3 really good players out there a lot of the time, with Jaden and Nick and AP. And he's trying to learn, okay, when can I be aggressive? How can I play off these guys? And we'll do a better job too. Like, again, we're only 4 games in, creating a little bit of a package offensively where we can feature him a little bit more, because when we start that team too, there's mismatch. The other team has to make decisions. If you start, do you put a smaller guy on him? Who do you put on Nick? There's decisions that have to be made. So I was just proud of Trey. It wasn't going well for him, and he's such a competitor and such a winner that I thought his competitive instincts just really showed out at the end.
Time for 2 more questions. Matt?
Coach, Arrinten Page brings a paint presence that this team hadn't seen the season ago. Could you talk about how he plays into that pound the rock mentality that you?
Yeah, I'm just really proud of AP. And it's a great lesson for everybody. He's had a tough journey, right? I mean, he was out at USC his freshman year. It didn't go so well. There was a lot of chaos out there. The coach leaves. Go to Cincinnati, and he'll be the first to tell you, he'll own his own accountability, but it didn't go well for him, right? And he ended up not even being in the rotation at the end of the year. He wasn't even playing. And, we did a deep dive with him, and he's got a good spirit at heart. He wants to be about the right things, and I thought our situation provided him with what he needed. I think he needed a place where he was going to have a lot of support around him, that people were going to believe in him, and also people that were going to push him to maximize his talents. He's a very talented player. I mean, you guys see it, that size, his ability to run and score in the paint and play above the rim. He can face up and make a shot. I mean, he's a very talented player, and he knows that we need him. And I think that's been a really good formula, and it's about him just continue to be consistent and continuing to trust us, and us continue to trust him. But it's been a great fit, and I'm really proud of him, the way he's played so far this year.
1 more question, back here.
Coach, at the end of the first half, KJ and Max with some really big threes to keep the lead within 1 possession.
Yep.
Kind of like, are those scenarios where you see those guys off the bench, you putting them in to just do just that, and kind of those spot up threes?
Yeah, I mean, we need their shooting. I mean, they're better. They're players too. They're not just shooters, but that's what they do best. And they're our 2 best shooters on our team. So, for us, and like I said, the more I'm still learning my group too. So the more we play, we have an opportunity now to practice. We don't play for a week, so we'll be able to get a good week of practice, and we can continue to add like our package offensively. I think I have to do a better job getting those guys more shots, because they can change a game with their shooting, and we'll keep doing a better job, going forward using those guys.
Give that round of Coach.
All right, thank you guys.
Nick, you sandwich Brooks now with the MVP award for these DePaul games. Now, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, Brooks is a great ball player, as you guys know. So anytime I'm mentioned in the same conversation as in basketball-wise, pretty good thing. For sure.
You're a 2-time winner of the award now. What does it kind of feel? I don't remember necessarily a Northwestern player that's done that recently. What does it mean to show that continuity in a rivalry game like this?
No, for sure. Yeah, just me and Jello were talking about it a ton, because we stay home in the summer. We play in a pro-am, and just how seriously we took that pro-am, it just shows how much we care about showing out for the city. It's an amazing city. There's so many good basketball players, and it really builds you. You're young, and I'm coming from the suburbs, and I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So it really helped build me. So yeah, this is definitely, it's an honor for sure.
Nick, what's going through your mind to go to the line with those two for Chris to win it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw my mom crying, so I was like, oh, that can't be good. But thank God they went in. Yeah.
Your reaction at the end of the game said a lot about who you are as a leader. What's your vision for the program as a captain?
Yeah,
Where do you want to take this program at the end of 2025-26?
100%. Yeah, I think we have a ton of goals that we talk about amongst ourselves. And those goals are kind of things that we need to take day by day. This is a group of all brand new guys, and we have to just take it. Every day we have to learn from one another. We have to help build each other up and build camaraderie. And yeah, I mean, getting this win, it meant a lot. Getting a W, it's super hard to win. It's tiring. You have to battle. Those guys were ready to play. It's at home for them. So the fact that this team could come together and me and Jay are out, for 2 minutes, between the 6 and 4 minute mark, and guys are just making plays. Trey lays a kid and flexes on him. It just shows the type of depth that we have.
With that Trey run specifically, I mean, it seems like his confidence has really come along, even as he's battled foul trouble. What have you seen from him throughout, his progression over these first 4 games, and what was it like on the sideline, kind of watching him take over in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a question about whether or not Trey was going to show up for a game, because he shows up for himself every single day. He reminds me a lot of Brooks, and the fact that he never leaves the gym. I'll come here 9 in the morning, 9 at night. He's just sitting in there, waiting to go work out. So a guy like that, you always have trust in them because they put the work in for themselves. So I admire that from him.
You talk about the local impact of this game. You said you'll leave the program 4-0 in this matchup. What does it mean to you to have made that undefeated mark in your tenure here?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great right now, but obviously reflecting on this game, when I watch it tonight, I'll probably just see all the defensive lapses, all the times I didn't run as hard as I could have ran. We definitely could build on this. Obviously it's a huge win for us. It's going to keep the momentum going, but at the same time, we made a ton of mistakes, and we got to learn from it.
Just the way the first 3 games have gone, where you guys didn't have to face as much adversity, how much value do you see in a game like tonight, where you had to battle all the way through?
I thought it was good. I thought it just really tested us as a team, as a unit. I thought it was just a good result. We stayed together and overcame adversity as a team. And, yeah, it was good.
DePaul had a big advantage for offensive rebounding. What did you feel like went into that discrepancy?
What do you mean?
Like, DePaul had more offensive rebounds than you guys did by a decent amount. What did you feel like in the game was the difference between what you guys were offering and what they had?
Yeah, that's on me. That's just on me. I just got to play a little bit harder, especially in the beginning of the game. The game started off with an offensive rebound. That's unacceptable. And I just feel like as a team, we just play harder. And CC was getting on us that in the huddle, so we just took the coaching, and I think we did lower that number in the second half a little bit. So I thought that was good.
Arrinten, what would be the best big man in the league?
It's bottom and shoulders, But I carry it.
One more. How do I get more like you?
I don't know. I gotta ask Jake West that question.
Arrinten, what did Coach emphasize about you guys playing on the court when you guys had lots of fouls each?
He didn't really say anything. He probably did love our aggressiveness. I think the refs were calling it a little tight today, but that's just game by game. And I think that it didn't really matter in the outcome of the game. You just got to be able to adjust. So.
It did seem like, when you would go up and try for the rebounds, there were a lot of plays where you would get bumped or something and something wouldn't be called. What did you see from the way that the game was called tonight that maybe can help you moving forward in, offensive rebound positioning?
Just be more physical. There's grown men out there, so just going up willy-nilly, you're definitely going to get knocked around. So I just got to go with more force.
And some big plays down the stretch from Trey Singleton. Obviously, with everybody in foul trouble, he goes in and makes those 2 big baskets. I mean, what have you just seen from him and his confidence this season, and kind of how that's grown through the first 4 games?
Trey, unbelievable talent. I think he needs to be more aggressive, more assertive, especially on his matchups. Because I know teams are going to be worried about, me and Nick posting up. And so I think that leaves him a lot of room to shine and grow.
All right, that'll wrap us up with AP.